Well, I believe I am live. Um, Give me a couple minutes to just kind of get this all prepared. If you guys can, I mean, yeah, apparently. Oh shit! Some breaking news I just saw, but I guess we'll be talking about that We'll be talking about that today, apparently. So we've got some breaking news coming out from WWE. Apparently, Asuka walked out on WWE. We'll be talking about that during this newscast that just started. Holy shit! Just breaking news already. That's crazy. But yeah, we'll talk about that. We have to talk about it. So, um, yeah. So, if you guys can hear me, just let me know. Just give me a few seconds to prepare what I need to prepare here. Let's see. What I need to prepare here. If you hear just like this weird silence, it's just me setting shit up. But for those that are wondering, yeah, today's newscast, there's no plan. There's really nothing for us to really plan. We're just kind of shooting the shit, talking about whatever needs to be talked about today, and yeah. So I'm just basically just talking and whatever. Yeah, for those that have just joined, for those that are joining the the newscast as of right now, there is breaking news coming from multiple sources amongst multiple sites that Asuka has apparently walked out this week from WWE, and that is all. We'll dive deep into it as the newscast gets settled in and what have you. Yes. All right. Let me see here. Got about like 12, 13 viewers already here. And that's me not even promoting this newscast like I usually do because I really had no. I'll tell you what, I had no plans doing a newscast, but I felt it's been a while since I've done one, and we're going to be doing a live stream this coming up week for Excel number 89 and the showcase event for the Glamour XL tournament, which I just put together and finished. And I actually have to go back. So basically, this will not be a long newscast. This will not go 2 hours. I'll tell you that right now. And I know I've said that so many times, but I can guarantee you it won't go for that long because I actually have to get back to producing and editing. And before anyone says it, because I know people are going to ask, no, I have not watched DC Redemption. I do plan on watching Redemption later on tonight, but I have not watched it yet. I had to produce and edit and put together the showcase event that all of you will see next week, and I also have to finish up with Impulse that's coming out tomorrow, hopefully. So I haven't really watched Redemption yet, but I do plan on watching it tomorrow. Sorry, not tomorrow. I do plan on watching it tonight, and by then next week you'll know that I've watched it. So I just want that known. Yeah. So first things first, before we get started on anything, I just want to make sure if everybody can hear me, loud and clear, if everyone can hear my microphone, if it's all good and everything. Just give it a couple of seconds. Loud and clear. Okay, well, I guess the jury rests, if you will. Okay, so let's start things out here. My name is Hakeem Johnson, your ACW commentator, as always. You guys know the whole spiel there. This is the newscast number 86. There's really no plans. There's really nothing of structure with this newscast this time around. It's just basically shooting the shit, just kind of, talking about whatever is important, maybe in wrestling or CAW or anywhere else for that matter. The Q&A portion I'll obviously answer all of your questions that you guys have on the chat. So we'll definitely do all that, but we'll do that a bit later. But right now, I swear to God, I just started this newscast and I read this apparently breaking news. So I'm going to read it since apparently pretty much everybody's here. Let's see here. I'm going to read it here and make sure I read it very clearly. Okay, so on Facebook, there is a page called Pro Wrestling and MMA World, and they got this news from PW Insider, the Elite Edition of PW Insider. And basically, as I'm going to read this verbatim here, basically, Asuka walked out on WWE this week. And I'm going to read the details that I see in front of me here. Asuka has been oddly absent from WWE television for a few weeks, and it looks like we now know why. On the latest episode of PW Insider Elite, Mike Johnson revealed that Asuka left the arena on Tuesday after a heated meeting with WWE officials and has stopped returning their calls. Apparently, the Japanese star has taken issue with being left off the card for SummerSlam and missing out on one of the best paydays of the year amongst other issues. Johnson clarified that despite increasingly common losses since the end of her streak, Asuka is frustrated not at a lack of wins, but at the short length and overbooked nature of her matches, feeling that she isn't receiving enough opportunity to display her abilities and express her quote-unquote art. So, that is where we stand with that, unless there's more information that I just have not been able to read. That is where we stand with Asuka right now. And I honestly have to side with her. You look at the trajectory with Asuka since WrestleMania this year, and you can just see the kind of downward direction that her character and her position has gone. Last year, she's regarded as arguably the best, booked wrestler in all of WWE. She wins the Rumble earlier this year, the first ever Women's Rumble, by the way. And then she's tapping out to Charlotte at WrestleMania, which I didn't agree with. I thought Asuka, I've always said that Asuka should have beaten Charlotte at WrestleMania because Charlotte didn't need that win because she already got it 2 years ago when she won the first ever WWE Women's Championship match with Sasha and Becky. Charlotte already had her moment. This was supposed to be Asuka's moment to validate and also strengthen the investment that the WWE had put all into her since arriving to the company. That was supposed to be her moment. And so they didn't do it. They end the streak in probably the most anticlimactic way you possibly could. Then you have Asuka basically verbally kneel that Charlotte is God. And then she starts to kind of limbo in purgatory. And then she starts a feud with Carmella, where a returning James Ellsworth is more of the centerpiece of the feud than Asuka herself. So, yeah, you can pinpoint WrestleMania this year as where the Asuka experiment started to slowly fade away. And you even look at the promotion for WWE Evolution, the all-women's pay-per-view coming up in October, and you see Ronda Rousey, you see Charlotte, and you see Alexa Bliss. You see those three as the centerpieces of the poster, and you see Asuka on the side. So what that tells me is that the hype, the investment for Asuka has seemingly died down, at least. Now, Does that mean that Asuka is going to straight up leave? Well, we don't know that yet. This is all speculation, although I wouldn't really doubt this report because apparently within the next 6 to 8 months, there's going to be certain specific contracts within WWE that are going to expire, and some of these talents may or may not re-sign. You know, we're in August right now, August the 11th. We're about 3 weeks away until we figure out if Daniel Bryan is going to re-sign with WWE or not. His contract, reportedly, is to end on September 1st, which would be right around All-In weekend. I don't know Daniel Bryan's specific contract details that would permit him to probably show up at All-In if he were not to re-sign, but that is going to be a play that WWE is going to look to try to keep Daniel Bryan away from that type of event. And the fact that Daniel Bryan could possibly, if he leaves, be a part of the Ring of Honor Madison Square Garden show for WrestleMania weekend. So that's possible. Also, there's rumors that, AJ Styles, Shinsuke Nakamura, Carl Anderson, Luke Gallows, their contracts are going to be coming up around the beginning of 2019. As you recall, all four of them were signed about 2 years ago during the whole New Japan raid of 2016. Right. We'll see. I don't see AJ leaving. He's the WWE champion. This is the most money he's ever made in his entire career. He's one of the flagship, gatekeepers of the company. I don't see him leaving, but stranger things have happened. Luke Gallows said Carl Anderson, and I think I said this on the last newscast that, the Good Brothers, it's 50-50 with them. They can easily go back to New Japan and help out that heavyweight tag team division, obviously. Or they could just stay and just keep making their money while piling around with the likes of, Balor and Styles, obviously. Now, but that's 50-50. It can go either way. Now, Shinsuke Nakamura. That will be the one to look out for because Shinsuke has reportedly said, and he said it even when he was coming to WWE, that he did want to end up going back to Japan to finish his career. He's not made that secret. He's made that very known amongst a lot of people. Me personally, Shinsuke's WWE run has been somewhat of a disappointment. Honestly, the two big moments I've ever remembered Shinsuke for in WWE is his iconic match with Sami Zayn at TakeOver when he in his first WWE NXT match period, and his win this year at the Royal Rumble. Those are the moments that I'm going to remember Shinsuke for. I know people are going to say, well, Shinsuke's the U.S. champion. Well, what has Shinsuke really done with the U.S. title that really has made the title matter and therefore have made him matter since turning heel? So, you know what I'm saying? Like, that doesn't really matter. I mean, it's like saying like Dolph Ziggler being IC champion for the fucking 8th time means anything at this point. It really doesn't, other than you getting great matches. Yeah, but that's neither here nor there. But Shinsuke is going to be the one that people need to watch out for. He can either re-sign with WWE and say, okay, I'll give them maybe 2 more years and then I'll go back to Japan. Or he'll just say, all right, I've done the WWE thing. I've checked it off my list. I've experienced it. I've wrestled at WrestleMania. I've won a Royal Rumble. I've held a WWE title. I've traveled all over the world. I can go back to Japan now and retire there. So, and, all that stuff. So Shinsuke has a lot of leverage, in my opinion. Out of all the four, well, AJ really does, but in terms of the realistic ability of who's going to really leave or stay, I think Shinsuke holds the advantage here. And quite frankly, I think Shinsuke has not been overly impressive in terms of what he could really do in WWE. And I guess you can say that with WWE's whole creative and the way they structure matches, sure. But Shinsuke hasn't really been helping either. He's kind of been half-assing it. The whole feud with AJ Styles this year should have been great. And it ended up being one of the most disappointing feuds I could ever recall in a WWE event, show, happenstance, whatever you want to call it. I'm not saying it was bad, although I will probably say that, but I just thought I just thought that Styles Nakamura feud was really disappointing. The only way I see Nakamura staying is if WWE promise him a world title run. And I don't know if WWE has enough commitment to do that with Shinsuke. I don't know. Because otherwise they would have done it when he got called up at in the main roster. And he definitely probably would have done it at WrestleMania this year. But it didn't happen. And it didn't happen throughout the entire time he was feuding with AJ. So we'll see. We'll see. And there's other contracts that have been rumored. So we'll see how the landscape of the WWE looks like in the next 6 to 8 months. But yeah. Oh. Oh, so the Oscar thing might be actually fake then, huh? Well, if it's fake, then I'll apologize for taking that to a very serious claim. But honestly, let's just assume that it's true. I mean, it wouldn't be that far off to think that Asuka would have an issue with her character and her standing with WWE after WrestleMania, after she has been regarded as the best women's wrestler ever as she was coming in. And then she loses in an anticlimactic fashion, breaking her streak at WrestleMania, and then hasn't really done anything, and has been put in a ridiculous feud with Carmella that makes Asuka look like an actual idiot. To the fact where she's letting someone like James Ellsworth outsmart her. So if it's fake, it's fake. That's fine. That's what it is. But it wouldn't be that far fetched to think that Asuka may not be happy with her current standing in the WWE. That's all I'm saying. That's all I would be saying. But yeah, so there's that. Is there any other news out here that let's see here. I went out last night. I went outside. Had a I had a fun time last night. Now, okay. I wanna address something real quick. And here's the deal. Here is the deal. Okay. I am not going to address this any more than this newscast. I'm not going to address it very long. I made posts about it last night, but then I ultimately deleted it this morning because, quite frankly, this is all stupid. And quite frankly, me doing those posts just weren't helping either. So, I'm only going to mention this once, and I've only mentioned it here. I'm not going to talk about it so long. I am not a mouthpiece for any side of this issue because, frankly, I'm not really happy with both sides of that whole situation last night for different reasons. I've heard and I've talked with the specific people that I needed to talk to last night about this. That's why I'm ultimately not going to discuss this any further. And I'm not going to be told a certain way of how to handle this. I will handle it the way I will handle it, just like I would expect other individuals to handle it their certain way. So, I'm only going to talk about this very shortly. I'm only going to talk about this here. do not ask me about this after this newscast because I am not about that whole um, CAW drama bullshit. Anyone that knows me knows that I don't get involved in that type of stuff. I don't engage in it. I don't promote it. I don't support it. And this is why. These are for reasons why I don't do it. Because in retrospect, everyone comes out looking not the most genuine they could. So here's the deal. I didn't watch DCA Redemption live. Okay. I was at work. Okay. Otherwise I would have been watching live, obviously. But I was at work. You know, life happens. Um, so I get off work. I hit the bar, have a good time, chill, drink, all that stuff. Before I can even do that, though, before I'm sitting at the bar, just going through my news feed just to see how Redemption was and all that stuff. Um, and then I see a certain incident that happened, and I read it. Well, first of all, I read it, and then I just watched all the reactions of it from him and the people that were not fans of it. And I literally rolled my eyes so hard because here's my stance, okay? And this is the only time I'm going to say it. So don't ask me, okay? Nor don't you tell me how to react to this. And unfortunately, I'm going to have to be a little personal about it, but I have to in order to illustrate why I feel the way I feel. But Torin, obviously the owner and founder of TNXA, Torin apparently role played after Sakura's match at Redemption. To the reaction afterwards, and apparently it was either veiled or blatant. It doesn't matter, but apparently alluded to or flat out just pretty much said that Sakura's match would lead the character to try to commit suicide. And first things first, I'm aware of things that Torin has done before, so I don't need people to try to lecture me about it. Okay, I've been doing this for 13 years. Okay, I'm aware of a lot of things, so don't try to patronize me as if I don't know what I already know. Okay. Now, I didn't want to mention this last night because I wanted to make sure the air was clear about everything. But I actually talked with Torin while I was at the bar. I actually messaged him privately. And I told him how I felt, first of all. I told him that you were completely in the wrong. There is no excuse for you for doing that. That what you did has consequences for that particular action, and that's a sensitive topic that a lot of people don't know how to deal with, or they deal with it individually. And suicide's not like it's not a it's not a game, dude. It's not something you just say and just think it's okay. You know? Having that said, I also want to say this too, though. I talked with Torin, and I told him all that, and I told him exactly what I told him, and he'll, whenever he feels like it, he'll definitely back me up on that front. However, some of you guys need to back the fuck up, and you guys have needed to back the fuck up for years too, because we actually got into a personal conversation and such, and I told him, Tori, I told him that he needs help, but he's struggling too. And as somebody that has gone through bouts of depression, let me get a little personal for a second. The reason why I took a hiatus during, I think it was 2012 when I came back the first time. Yeah, ACW was in the shithole personally, but I was going through personal situations and demons of my own that I didn't think I would be able to escape. That I thought I was close to no longer having to deal with anymore. And I'm not trying to excuse what Torin did. Okay? Let me make myself clear for those that are going to try to not understand the point I'm making here. I'm not excusing what Torin did. What Torin did was ultimately wrong. But people trying to pile on publicly thinking that was the right way to go about it are just as wrong, if not looking ridiculous as Torin. If you don't want to fuck with him, okay? If you don't want to fuck with him, if you don't want to associate with him, cool, that's fine. I'm not saying that you can't. I'm not saying that you can't handle this personally. I'm not saying that you can't handle this individually. I'm not saying that you can't handle this in your own way. I completely understand it, and I somewhat agree with it. If you don't want to deal with him anymore like that, cool, that's fine. That's your decision. That's your prerogative. That's your own decision. But at least leave it at that. At least say, okay, I don't want to associate with this person anymore, and move on. When I keep seeing post after post after post after post of somebody trying to nail this issue towards one particular person, as if each and every one of us don't have our own faults in this community, I find that disingenuous, personally, to me. And another thing is, we all have our issues, okay? I'm not saying that just because we have issues that means we have to act that certain way. I'm not saying that either. But we all have our issues. We all have been given chances when we frankly shouldn't have been given them. And I know Torn has been given his chances. But if the man is saying that he wants help, if the man is saying that he wants to be forgiven, and I know he's done it before, that's why I talked to him before I made my ultimate decision on this. But if that's how he feels, that's how he feels. Period. He's going through some things, okay? And as someone that went through those almost exact same things, I can sympathize with that. And I'm sure some of you guys, as much as you guys don't want to admit it, because it's him, which is fucked up either way, but just because it's him doesn't mean that you can't sympathize with him. But depression is not a joke, okay? I told Torin, basically, look, take a break from CAW, kind of recollect your thoughts, get some help that you need, come back refreshed, go to everybody that you offended, and ask for forgiveness. If they don't want to accept it, then that's just the way it is. but at least they'll know that you're making the effort to be genuine about it. Okay? That's what I basically told him. So basically, that's what I was trying to say in terms of I was disappointed with between everybody. What Torn did was wrong, and I'm not excusing that, and I'm not saying that it was right because it wasn't. But continuing to dogpile and continue to bring it up and bring it up and bring it up as if you're some sort of virtuous leader, as if you are like to be this virtuous leader, that doesn't make you any honest either. Like I said, if you don't want to associate with someone like that, that's your decision. That is your own discretion. I'm not going to judge you for that. Okay? That's your decision. But don't start going around telling everybody that they got to do that too. Okay? Everyone individually can make their own decisions about that situation or any situation for that matter. They should not be guilted to do what you think they should do. Because that creates an echo chamber in this community. And we just got through one years ago. I'm not saying that's where we're leading to, because I've been basically saying that we're on the cusp of a second golden era in CAW. You can see it. You can feel it. Multiple leagues everywhere now for everybody. Leagues are collaborating and making all these moves, doing new, exciting, innovative, and creative things. We're doing some great stuff in CAW right now. Okay? And I don't want that to be squandered, whether you know it or not. I don't want that to be squandered or potentially be squandered over some bullshit on the internet that could have been ultimately avoided, or it could have been done in a different, more professional manner. Okay, I've been doing this for 12 years, okay? 12 to 13 years. I've seen it all. Even when I was in hiatus, I was keeping tabs, okay? I've seen it all in CAW, okay? All right? I've seen the first golden era, okay? That me and very few today have been a part of. I saw the YouTube censorships back in those days where you couldn't even post anything in CAW, okay? I saw when a certain group almost effectively ruined this damn hobby in the first place. I'm seeing right now the resurgence and the renaissance of a new era in CAW. Okay, I've seen them all. Okay, but this is why I stay out of stuff like this, because this kind of stuff ultimately is a hindrance and a disservice to the community that ultimately does good things. So that's basically on me. I don't want anyone to start any hashtags about this. Please don't start any hashtags about this. Please do not try to hate on anybody about the situation. This is just my opinion and my beliefs, and just my beliefs and opinions alone. I don't hate anybody. I am not spiteful of anybody. It was just basically my opinion on the situation and what I felt at the time. And now you know why I don't get involved in shit like this, because it just becomes a sewage of echo chambers, and it just becomes where certain people get perennial treatment than others. I am so basically long story short, I don't agree with what he did. I don't agree with what he did. I know he knows I don't agree with what he did. And I told him privately, like everyone should have done anyways, but I privately told him that I didn't agree with that. And I told him my true feelings about that. Yet I was able to also have a mature conversation, because I thought we were all grown here. So I talked with him. I told him what I felt. He understood that. Yet I also offered any help or any any support that he would want if he was truly genuinely looking to, kind of start that whole thing up, and try to get back into good standing. So I clearly don't agree with what he did, and I told him as such. But I also don't agree with this witch hunt that uh, I was seeing on social media about it last night. I just don't agree with that. If you felt a certain type of way, then say that on your own terms, on your own merits. Don't try to group everyone to think that's what they should do. Okay? And what's really pissing me off about this, really more than anything, is that this shit overshadowed the great effort that DCA and D-Wall did for Redemption. We should be talking about Redemption. And I will watch Redemption later on tonight. I definitely will. But Redemption should be the talk of the community today. And it just seems like people are using this thing to overshadow that effort that D-Wall and Eddie and Brady and all those guys did for that event. And that's bullshit. So that's my take on that situation. That will be my only take on the situation. There will be no more posts or tweets about it. Like I said, don't ask me about it anymore. I'm going to leave it at that. I mean, yeah. So there you go. I gave you a little inside info about what I was going through and how that related to last night. So there's that. Yeah. Yeah. All right. I think that'll do it. All right. So, if you guys have any questions, go ahead and you guys have any questions, go ahead and put them on the chat. I guess I'll answer some questions while I'm here. I guess Again, I don't expect this to go long. It's not going to go long because I have to get back to doing what I'm doing. But yeah. All right. So, is Android 17 going to make a return? ACW is lacking on DBZ characters. Android 17 is ACW is lacking on DBZ characters. Are you sure you're watching the right league? Are you sure you're watching the right league? ACW is lacking DBZ characters. That's a good one. Let's see. All right. Is it true about Ring of Honor getting bullied by WWE? Yeah, in the sense that WWE clearly didn't want Ring of Honor to do the show at Madison Square Garden, the mecca of WWE, the home turf of WWE. Of course, they didn't want them to do that, but the Madison Square Garden arena are feeling a certain type of way of WWE lately using Barclays Center as their new hometown for any events that are in New York. So Madison Square Garden said, "Screw it, okay, we'll take this promotion that wants to give us money, and so we have an event to give them back in return." Simple business. Current thoughts on Summerfest? SummerSlam, I guess. eh. I hate to be like that, but eh. Like Roman Reigns and Braun Strowman's walking out with the title. Brock Lesnar's not walking out with that title. You know Heyman's going to turn with Roman Reigns. You know that Heyman is going to enlist Roman Reigns as the new guy. You just see it coming. And I'm sorry, after matches and matches and matches of Roman Reigns failing to beat Brock Lesnar, I no longer care. I don't care anymore. Roman's going to win his title. Fine, that's whatever. But I don't care anymore. They pulled the trigger too far, too long, too. It's just no. I'm sorry. What else though? Styles and Joe, that should be fine, but Joe's just not that guy he used to be back in TNA when him and Styles used to put on matches like that. And Styles himself has slowed down a bit. He's still one of the best wrestlers in the world, but even he's slowed down due to age. So I'm just saying, I'm just telling all of you that, we all got giddy about Styles and Nakamura at WrestleMania, and that disappointed greatly. I'm just saying, kind of pump the brakes here with Styles and Joe. That's what I'm gonna say. Um, Ronda's winning the title from Alexa Bliss, obviously. Uh, Charlotte's winning the title, which will lead to Becky turning heel in the future. Whatever. This just it's just not a SummerSlam. I'm really I don't know. I'm not feeling it. Let's put it that way. Am I gonna watch it? Sure, but yeah, it's whatever. Let's see. Where can I find a capture card, and does one look like? I would say I would recommend going to Fry's or Best Buy are your best options to get some good video capturing machines or capture cards. Although capture cards in the sense of, back in the days where you had to build one into your like desktop, those days are kind of done. You want to get like something like a um you want to get an Elgato, or what I use, a Hapag gaming HD PVR2 gaming edition. Want to get one of those, that'd be fine. Yeah. How excited are you for SummerSlam and NXT Takeover? Kind of just said what I said about SummerSlam. NXT Takeover. Um, what is it like? What is it? What's the? I don't even know the full card, honestly. I know it's Kyrie and Shayna for the women's title, which I do assume. I assume Kyrie will win that title for a certain reason. I think it's EC3 and Velveteen Dream. I don't know. I haven't really been impressed with EC3's NXT run so far. They've kind of stripped everything away that made EC3 work, and are just kind of making him a run of the mill cocky heel. Which I'm gonna be honest with you, NXT does a lot. For all the praise that NXT gets, NXT does a lot of mundane, repetitive shit that gets a pass that will criticize the main roster for doing. Just throwing that out there. By the way, if I haven't answered your question, just keep repeating it on the chat, and I'll get to it eventually, because this is going really fast. Let's see. How excited are you for 2K19? I've been watching Smack Talk's videos about it. I usually get excited about WWE games. Smack Talks does a video on them. I'm gonna be honest with you. I haven't really seen anything from this year's game that's making me go, I got to get it. It's looking like it's gonna be the same as 2K18, but improved slightly, which for me is fun because I didn't get 2K18, so this will be an improvement from 2K17 for me, anyways. But for some of you, maybe not so much. The way it's looking like Kevin Owens is going to win the briefcase. Why would you have Kevin Owens win the briefcase from Braun Strowman? Why? You already shit the bed with Braun Strowman not beating Lesnar for the title last year at No Mercy. Why would you do it here at SummerSlam when Kevin Owens doesn't even need the briefcase? And quite frankly, doesn't deserve to be the champion right now. Let's see. Do you think ACL and ACW will do a crossover show? I'm sure it'll happen at some point. It's just got to be the timing, scheduling, all that good stuff. We all need more Velveteen Dreams in our lives. How, I like Velveteen Dream. I will say that I do like him a lot. How did you make the match cards that we see on Impulse, like selling pay-per-views? Photoshop. I'm just a very creative person, dude. I'm very creative. I like to create. I'm a graphic designer too, as a side job. That's kind of what I do. I'm a graphic designer for other things other than ACW. So, doing that is very beneficial. Then I like to challenge myself too when it comes to graphic design and video editing. Um, so UW and ACW still in good terms despite what has happened with a certain person. Well, like I told you, you could have explained yourself more clearly when I asked you about what happened. We're cool right now, but yeah, just keep that in mind. Yeah, King, what did you think about ACL Danger Zone? I haven't seen Danger Zone yet. That'll be also another show that I watched this weekend, so I gotta catch up on that. Yo, dude, you gotta stop asking that question, mentioning that dude's name. Like, you guys think I'm playing? Like, if you guys keep mentioning that dude's name, I'm just gonna delete your post. Whether that's on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, I don't give a damn, and I don't care what you think at this point about me doing that. At this point, if you keep mentioning that dude's name, I'm just going to remove it, and I'm not going to answer it. Period. Sorry. Um, Aqua thinks she'll ever sign with ACW, the Glamour X division. Who knows? I don't know. Who knows? Weren't you supposed to have Apocalypse before doing No Boundaries? Well, if you guys haven't noticed already, well, I mean, now that I took this hiatus, it's probably moot. But this is a shorter this is a shorter season than last season, so I had to cut off two mega events each. I had to cut off a mega event each for Excel and Impulse. Impulse I had to cut off was the Apocalypse, and I cut off Genesis for Excel. So why hasn't Roger been fired for his actions? Well, I mean, if you watched Excel 87, not this recent episode, um, the board of directors pretty much voted unanimously, or not unanimously, but majority wise, they voted that they don't want Roger Smith fired. Now, granted, what happened at Excel 88 this week, I don't know what the hell that was, and I honestly don't even agree with what Aang did. I hope we get answers next week. Is all I'm going to say. By the way, Excel number 89 is going to be streamed live on YouTube this Wednesday, and then obviously after that will be the Glamour X Element Showcase event. So stay tuned for that. Hakeem, did you ever write a fanfic before? Yes, I have actually. Long time ago. I mean, anyone that was in like middle school or high school that was a fan of anime wrote a fanfic at some point. Hakeem, does Impulse GM Goku really need an assistant? I know that he has nothing to do about Mr. Smith and Ground Zero, but does he really need an assistant? Oh, give me 1 second. All right, sorry about that. I had to take care of something pretty quick. Um, can you guys hear me? I think you guys heard me. Okay, so um, any questions that again, if you guys if I haven't answered your question, just post it on the chat, and I'll get to it. Um, yeah, sorry about that. That was just something I had to. I was man. I'm kind of guys. I'm like I'm sick. If you didn't know, like I'm surprised I even pulled off Excel 88 this week, and this impulse coming up tomorrow. But I've been pretty sick this week. Um, no, it is what it is when you know when you're when you're working, doing other things outside of ACW, and then you're doing ACW itself. You know, things start to catch up. But yeah, but so just forgive me if I cough and stuff like that. Anyways, your thoughts on the Smash Bros. Ultimate Direct on Wednesday? First things first. Thank you, Base Sakurai. Two, the Smash Brothers fan base can never bitch about anything ever again because that direct basically gave you everything that you've always wanted. They've given you new characters that you've been wanting for a decade. They've given you new styles of fighting. They've given you new options. They've given you music. They've given you everything that you've wanted in a Smash. Now, granted, I think that this is going to be the final Smash game. A lot of people have been doubting me on that, but frankly, just look at the optics here. Sakurai is throwing everything into this game. He's throwing the whole thing. How the hell does the next Smash game top this? He's doing this because he wants this Smash game to last at least 5 years. And frankly, with all these things that he's giving you for this Ultimate game, this can go on for at least half a decade, if not a decade. You can play this game for pretty much almost a decade if you wanted to, without asking for another Smash. That's Sakurai's goal here. That's his end game here. People are gonna ask, how do you do a Smash 6? I don't think you're getting a Smash 6. I think Smash Ultimate is your last one. And quite frankly, how do you top that? And yes, I know Sakurai said that as long as there's a man, he'll continue to make them. But then that gets to the point to where, okay, do you want Smash to become a port at this point? Do you want Smash to be like Ultra Super Smash? Do you want Super Smash to be going the way of Street Fighter? Street Fighter 5, Super Street Fighter, Ultra Super Mega Super Street Fighter Arcade Mega Edition. Is that where you want Smash to go? I'd rather Smash end on a high note than you continuing to drag it to where it's a zombie of what it once was. That's just my opinion. But yeah. Let's see here. Other than that, the Belmont Brothers being a part of it, I thought was cool. I knew Castlevania was going to be a part of it. King K. Cruel, yeah, called that too. Let me see. Dark Samus, I did not call. I will say that. Um, Chrome, I guess was expected. I will tell you this right now. I will tell you this right now. When I saw Zero in that Smash Direct, I was going to lose my shit completely, thinking, "Holy fuck, Zero's a fighter? He's a new fighter? Are you fucking kidding me?" Granted, he's just an assist trophy, but again, shit's happened before. But damn, I thought Zero was gonna be a part of that, dude. I was gonna be so hyped. But yeah, I liked the Smash Direct. Obviously, Nintendo continues to be the king of video games. Nintendo continues to be the greatest video game company in the world and of all time. So, it is what it is with that. Um, will Impulse ever have a Glamour X division? I mean, that's not out of the realm. Obviously, that's not out of the realm. Um, the Glamrex division continues to grow in many ways to where I didn't think it would grow that fast. Um, I didn't think I knew that I knew that I needed the Glamrex division, or I needed a women's division in general in ACW after years of not doing one. But I didn't think the Glamrex division would grow to where it has grown today, and at a fast rate, which is why the Element tournament had to happen. It was going to happen regardless, but it just had to happen. And the way I'm going to present the Element tournament this year, I plan to do it differently than a lot of other tournaments have done it in that aspect. I want to be able to do innovative things that challenge myself and challenge the viewers that are expected to watch certain things when they watch tournaments. So the Glamrex Element Tournament is just not going to be about the 32 participants, although that is a heavy ass list of great competitors. It's going to be about the way you consume a tournament. It's going to be a way about how you look for it, how you watch a tournament, and how certain aspects from production and in ring standpoint coincide with everything. It's going to be fun, and it's going to be a tournament that you've never seen in, in CAW, at least in my perspective, in my opinion. And that's not to shit on any other tournaments. I want that to be clear as well, because I think the likes of the SCA tournament and the Queens of Wrestling and Call All Stars tournament, I think those tournaments are superb in what they do. It's just that I want this Element tournament to be something that a lot of fans have not witnessed in terms of tournament events. That's it. And by the way, those 32 participants will be at Excel. They will be at Excel this Wednesday. So make sure all of you, they will actually they're gonna actually gonna show up after Excel 89. So make sure you guys all stay tuned for that live stream on Wednesday. And yeah, you guys can go ahead and pick who you think is gonna win the whole thing. Come Monday when it starts Monday, October 1st. Who do you think is gonna win the entire tournament? I will tell you right now that this tournament is going to have a lot of shockers and surprises. And if you know me, and if you know how HW has always lived by moments, then this tournament probably won't go the way you think it might go in terms of the participants. That's all I'll say. Let's see here. Do you always like to do commentary by yourself? Um, I'm more comfortable doing commentary on my own because I know the stories that I want to tell, and I know the way I like to structure storytelling from a commentator's perspective, and how that coincides and is parallel to the in-ring action. I like doing that by myself because I like how I can be able to pace it, structure it, and tell it in a way that only I would know how to convey that as. Now, I don't mind people doing commentary with me, however. I don't mind that at all. Um, in terms of like special events that I do or crossover events or me doing guest commentary for other leagues, I don't mind that at all. I've always said the reason why I didn't do a lot of guest commentary for other leagues is because, well, simply I wasn't asked. But ever since I've been asked to do a lot of commentary for leagues, I've been, as long as the time and scheduling is able to fit where I have to do it, I don't mind doing it for other leagues because I like to help out leagues. I like to help out CAW in general. CAW, in a lot of ways, saved me. Like CAW in a lot of ways saved my life. And maybe one day I'll tell that story. Like I maybe one day tell a personal story as to how CAW actually saved my life, but it did. And I like to give back in many ways as possible, so that way other leagues that that are having the potential or are just starting or don't get talked about enough, they can go ahead and showcase their own talent and skills. As long as you're having fun in CAW, that's all that matters. Let's see here. That reminds me, Hakeem. I want to thank you for being one of my inspirations to start a colleague. I also want to thank you for giving me the idea to do my own women's tournament for my own colleague. Hey, no problem, dude. I mean, I've gotten a lot of, it's this is why I still do ACW. This is why I still participate in the CAW community because um I just when I hear things like that, it makes me feel good. It makes me feel good about what I put out and what I've been doing for 12 years now. Um, I started this on my I started doing this. I started doing ACW on my freshman year in high school. I'm 26, 27 now, and it's been a ride. I wish I could still have my old content that was deleted ultimately by WWE and Toei Animation for my old YouTube channel. Fuck Toei. Um, but yeah, it's just I wish you guys could see that because I was no different than a lot of you guys that are starting out with your own colleagues. Now, back when I had the cameras uneven to record the matches on Day of Reckoning 2, you can hear the background noise from yelling from my brothers and parents and all that stuff. But that kind of stuff reminds me of how far I've came. Um, but yeah, it's been a fun ride. It's been a fun ride of CAW with ACW, and like I've always said, the only way I'm gonna stop ACW is if when I say it. So, but yeah, man. Um, hey, dude, just as long as you're having fun with it, that's all that matters, right? Okay. I think I'm gonna give it five more minutes. I'll give you guys 5 more minutes to post any more last questions that you have on this newscast, and then I'm gonna go back to editing and producing HCW content. That's what I do. Ugh. By the way, for those that are gonna ask, I did hear the whole thing about CM Punk and Paul Cabana and their whole lawsuit. I think that's just pretty sad. I think it's pretty sad, honestly. I kind of joked on Facebook, top 10 saddest anime relationship breakups. But yeah, CM Punk, I was a fan of his when he was wrestling. I was a fan of his whole thing during 2011. It was kind of the basis as to why this current storyline is happening right now in Excel. So I've been a CM Punk fan even before that, even obviously with the original Summer Punk storyline, and even before that with this feud with Raven back in IWA and other places in Germany and Europe. So I've been a fan of CM Punk for a while. That said, if this story is true, Punk comes off as a piece of shit in the sense that he's expecting his longtime friend, Cole Cabana, to pay half of his bill that he isn't necessarily entitled to do. Like Punk, dude. If you want to move on from wrestling, that's one thing. I don't begrudge you for that. You don't owe anybody anything in terms of coming back to wrestle. But dude, to continue to cut off people that you had relationships with, whether it's wrestling or not, to continue to do that, I think it's kind of shitty, man. And that's just me from somebody that that had to cut off a lot of people, but that was just because of the negativity that they brought towards me. So I don't know. I think Punk's in the wrong here. I think you should just realize that sometimes you don't have to do that when it comes to friendship. But that's just me. I don't know. Thoughts on Raw ruining the AOP already? Duh. Duh. Like you NXT fanboys got to understand one thing here. Just because it works in NXT doesn't mean it's going to work in the main roster. You can count. Here's the thing. There have been more flops or disappointments with NXT to main roster call-ups than there have been successes. I mean, really, honestly, name them. Name them. Like Kevin Owens, Charlotte, Sasha, maybe Becky Lynch, maybe. There's not a lot of them, is what I'm saying. Braun Strowman, well, kind of. I don't know about that, but there's been more disappointments and failures than successes, is what I'm saying. Of course, the AP were going to fail. When you took out Ellering from that team, they're going to fail. And now they're just two big bricks doing nothing but squashing people until they get their first feud to where no one's going to give a fuck. It just you've come to expect that from this company at this point. So you shouldn't be surprised. Since you're doing a women's tournament, will we be getting a cruiserweight one as well? Stay tuned. I don't know why I said it like that. If you could do a commentary of an episode of ACW in Middle English, what would it be? Obviously Japanese. I always wondered if I had a commentary, if I had someone do commentary for ACW, but it was in Japanese, I would be interested to see how that would translate. I would be interested to see how ACW translates there in Japan. Is all I'm saying. What are your thoughts on Aleister Black's injury and who attacked him? Since they're going to make Gargano and Ciampa last man setting for the NXT title. Oh, is that the main event? Another Gargano Ciampa match? Oh, God. Dude, this feud was nice for a while, but at some point you gotta understand feuds gotta stop where they need to stop. And I wasn't particularly a fan of them doing their match last takeover. Now they're doing one for the NXT title here for Brooklyn. Nah, man. I don't know, man. And who did the Aleister Black attack? Can't be the Undisputed Era. I mean, they made that way too obvious with them driving off, so it can't be them. I don't know. It could be It could be EC3, Lars Sullivan, probably one of those two. Did you enjoy Punk's UFC fights? No, I didn't. I thought Punk, although I respect him for taking a chance and doing something that most wrestlers say they will do, but they don't do it. Angle. Yeah, he's not a fighter, and he started too late, and he was clearly there for some name recognition and value, which UFC doesn't have at the moment. That's the only reason why that happened. But yeah, that whole thing is done. CM Punk as a UFC fighter is done. Let's see here. I started watching ACW when Gohan defeated Dark Magician, even though Gohan attempted to cheat first. Yeah, man, Dark Magician should have been the world champion last season. That still pisses me off that Dark Magician had that match won, and oh my god, that whole JSA season, man. As a commentator and owner of ACW, it made me sick. But as a producer and as a creative for ACW, obviously, and the founder, obviously, that JSA storyline was probably one of the best storylines I've ever done. One day I'm gonna do a newscast to where it's just gonna be completely about the JSA. That means we're gonna talk about the whole JSA storyline, how it all even started before it even officially started, how it ended, how it was going to originally end, certain hits and misses of the storyline. We're gonna one day just talk about the JSA entirely for a newscast. So that's gonna that's gonna definitely happen at some point, because that JSA storyline, there's a lot of things that people missed, that people think they caught, but they missed. Is Esdeath going to wrestle in the Glam Rex division Excel? I mean, that's up to her. I mean, people need to understand that certain characters don't need to necessarily wrestle. And I think Esdeath, in terms of her military strategies and her mental tactics, is right now at the moment suited best as a general, quote unquote, or manager for Night Raid, and it's paying off in dividends, obviously. So, but who knows? Maybe she will, maybe she won't. If they wanted to be total dicks about this Roman Brock thing for WrestleMania 35, what if Strowman cashed it in the middle of the match like Rollins, but Brock just pins it? Then that means Reigns is no longer a main event player to me. That means the Braun Strowman experiment is pretty much dead, and we'll go down the way of Bray Wyatt. And Brock Lesnar has some sort of political pull in that company to where he will not drop it at that level. So, this is just me being stupid. But who thinks Bayley and Naomi are sexy? I think Naomi's sexy for sure. Bayley, I think she's more. I think she's more cute than sexy. I mean, again, I don't think people know this, but my preference is Latinas, right? So at least kind of got one up there. But and she's got a nice ass and some nice tits. But other than that, she's kind of cute. I wouldn't consider her like sexy or sexy like that. Naomi's sexy though. That man. How good do you think Io will do in WWE, sir? Depends on how they want to portray her. I mean, if it works in NXT, sure, but that won't necessarily translate to the main roster. I'm just saying, like, you all got hyped for Asuka in the main roster, and you see where that trajectory is going. I don't know if Kyrie and Io is safe in that regard. Thoughts on the idea of Brock having the Universal and UFC titles? That's exactly what the WWE would like. That's why I kind of don't think Brock is going to lose that title. I know I said that Reigns will turn heel with Heyman and win the title there, but something's telling me that Brock is going to somehow once again retain that title so they can extend it all the way till November where he fights at UFC and wins hopefully the UFC title to where they can brag about he is the multi-dual sport champion both in MMA and pro wrestling. You know that that's where they want to go with it. You know that that's what they want to do with that. So since someone mentioned the idea of an Impulse Glam Rex division, what would be a dream roster for it? Oh, that's a good question. Chat, go ahead and answer that question. Is there a point to in the future that ACW has an NXT type show for new stars? I think I mentioned this before, but I had originally planned 2 seasons ago to do some sort of developmental show for ACW. I think it was called something like ACW 1, to where it would be a developmental league, pretty fairly small, but each character would obviously have their development, their own direction, and their own purpose. And then as the years went by, that would expand to newer characters and yada yada yada. Basically what NXT is now. But yeah, an NXT type show for AEW, I definitely see that in the future. But it has to be done in a way that makes sense. Is what I'm saying. That's about Ikumi screwing Revy out of that match. I thought it was bullshit because Ikumi Revy kind of instigated it, really, if you want to be honest, but Ikumi has had this vendetta with Revy even when she was in power. So now that she's no longer in power, she feels like she can do that. Well, that's Ikumi's ass because, Revy's not going to take that line down, clearly. Yeah. What do you think about the War Machine, the formerly War Machine, now War Raiders, getting an NXT Tag Team title push? Flavor of the month. I like the War Machine. I like War Machine too, but that's basically what the NXT guys are treating them as the flavor of the month. That's not an indication that they're going to do anything with them afterwards when they lose those titles. So Vince is negotiating for Brock to stay. Yeah, of course. Brock is a moneymaker. As much as people don't like this title reign, and I don't, and the way Brock kind of conducts himself sometimes with WWE, I mean, he's a moneymaker. He's a business. Why wouldn't you want to renegotiate with that? Let's see. Just some pretty interesting names for this potential Impulse Limerick's division. Just just observing. Would Mitch go be a good tag partner for Revy? I don't know. They both like to kind of do their own thing. I don't know if them being partners is something they want to necessarily do, but I mean, stranger things have happened. All right, I think that'll be it. I think that's all the questions right there at that point. All right, so that'll be it for the newscast this week. Kind of glad I did this newscast. Kind of glad I did this newscast today. Just wanted to talk with you guys, shoot the shit, kind of take a break from editing all this ACW shows, and I'm sick too, so I kind of wanted to just take a break in general. But a good newscast. Some things before you guys go, some things that we need to just kind of keep in mind here. This upcoming Wednesday, we will be doing a live stream once again for ACW Excel. It'll be Excel number 89. So it'll be the fallout from this week's crazy Excel 88 episode with what Aang did and how that whole thing transpired. So make sure you stay tuned for that. It'll be a live stream of Excel number 89 on Wednesday. And following that show, Excel number 89, it'll be the Glamour X Element Tournament Showcase event. That means all 32 of the participants of this tournament will be involved in this showcase. So that means you're going to get your first look at the participants, and you're going to look at their statistics and what they're going to be bringing in to that match. Into that tournament, excuse me. So it's going to be a big night Wednesday next week. So make sure you guys are all in tune for that. Impulse will be coming out on Sunday. Hopefully, if not Sunday, definitely Monday. But I'm trying not to make this a trend of voting shit late again, because I did that last week, but that was out of my control due to work and other things. But yeah, tomorrow should be Impulse number 94 or 95. I don't even know the numbers at this point. If not Sunday, it'll be definitely Monday. Live stream of Excel 89 and the showcase event will be on Wednesday. Then I think Impulse 95 will be on that Saturday of that week. And then the week after that will be pay-per-view week. So we'll be mega events week, excuse me. We'll be doing direct on Tuesday or Wednesday of that week. And then obviously Friday night or the Friday night of that week will be the live stream of No Boundaries. And then obviously the day after will be the upload of No Boundaries on the Mega Event channel on YouTube. So a lot of stuff for you guys to look forward to. As soon as we're done with ACW No Boundaries coming up in 2 weeks, it's Animania season. let's make this very clear here. And I'm not trying to shit on anything before that, but after ACW No Boundaries in 2 weeks on August 24th, the day after is officially Animania 5 season. The Animania 5 hype will truly begin at that point. And you're going to know it very, very obviously. Animania 5 will be held this December at Los Angeles, where it'll start at the first one in 2006. We are back there for this season. A lot of things are going to shape up after No Boundaries. I'm going to tell you that right now because we got the Royale Rumble coming up on September 21st. Anime Revolution will be happening in October. The Glamour X Element Tournament will be happening that October as well. I'm sorry. Yeah. Sorry, yeah. I got that right. The Royale Rumble will be in September. Anime Revolution will be in October. The Element Tournament will be in October as well. And then from then on that point, we'll be straight up to Animania 5 in December. I can tell you this right now, to celebrate 10 years of excellence in ACW, I am planning to make this the best Animania I have ever done. And that may be subjected to other people. To me, this will be my greatest challenge and my greatest project I have ever done for ACW. And you'll see why when we get closer to that Animania 5 show. So, because I will tell you this, things are going to change. Animania 5 is going to change a lot of things for ACW. I'm not going to tell you what they are. I won't even say how they will. But Animania 5 is going to change a lot of things for ACW moving forward. Period. So, keep that much in mind. So, the Animania 5 hype will begin after ACW No Boundaries. But until then, that's what you're going to be looking forward to with ACW content from here on out. I know I haven't done any web matches in almost 2 weeks now. Those will start coming out next week as well. The ACW 10 Rewind stuff will be coming out too as well. And a lot of other content will be coming out in the future. So you'll get a lot of content coming out, hopefully on time, as we get close to Animania 5. Okay? So there you go. With that said, that's what you're looking forward to coming up. Other than that, that is going to be doing it. That'll be it for me. I am done for tonight. I am going to go back to editing some ACW shows. Thank you guys for joining me for this newscast, and I will see you guys on the live stream for Excel number 89 on Wednesday. Until then, stay cool, everybody. Stay cool. See you guys later.